Now, teachers across the country are anxiously awaiting their classes' NAPLAN results as grading gets underway, but the amount of children taking the annual NAPLAN test has been dropping over the years, according to analysis from the ABC. The short-term drop was explained by COVID, flooding and isolation, but the long sustained decline is due to parents keeping the children at home, withdrawing them from the test to protect them from getting their feelings hurt. Surely we value education and accurate results more than protecting feelings. Maybe we don't. Joining me now to discuss this in detail is Kevin Donnelly. Kevin, why do you think the percentage of Year 9 students, for example, taking NAPLAN has dropped from 92% in 2010 to now 85% last year?
One reason, Rita, would be COVID. I mean, we had 2 years, over 3 years of disruption in schools. And because of that, we didn't do as much, or teachers didn't do as much testing in the classroom. And that really has led to a situation where a lot of young students, primary and secondary, were doing virtual classrooms in the home. And the question of NAPLAN really wasn't as evident then. It didn't happen. And the other reason is, I think, because as a society, parents in particular, but also when you look at a lot of what the union says and teachers associations, they argue that meritocracy, passing, failing students, ranking students in terms of performance, that we shouldn't do that. We should hold hands, sing Kumbaya, everyone's a winner. So a lot of teachers, parents are saying we don't want competitive assessment where our students are ranked in terms of performance.
Which is crazy, because you are going to be ranked according to performance later in life, later in your schooling life. You need to get a decent ATAR to get into certain courses. Of course, there are other pathways, but pretending this stuff doesn't matter, I think, is doing a disservice to kids. Now, there's also a new report from the IPA saying our new national curriculum is, and I quote, irreversibly failing generations of young Australians by indoctrinating them in climate change and transgender and racial ideology. Kevin, I've got to ask, why didn't the Coalition correct this trend when they had the opportunity to, and what can parents do to demand better for their children?
It is an issue, Rita. You might remember I co-chaired the review of the national curriculum in 2014 under a Liberal government. Tony Abbott was the Prime Minister. Unfortunately, the Education Minister at the time, Christopher Pyne, when we did our report and we argued there should be a greater focus on Western culture, on Christianity, Judeo-Christianity, on religion more broadly as well. And we argued, instead of looking at Indigenous, sustainability, Asia, which has its place, we argued we need greater balance. But unfortunately, Christopher Pyne did nothing. And a month or two later, after we delivered our report, Malcolm Turnbull took over as Prime Minister, and the rest is history. And you've spoken to Mark Latham tonight. He's dead right. He's one of the few politicians who is actually fighting the fight about the culture wars in the classroom.
Kevin Donnelly, as soon as you said the words Christopher Pyne, I knew where we went wrong with addressing this issue. Kevin Donnelly, thank you so much for joining me.